Rise and shine, Rwanda. It's Wednesday, the 5th of August.
Coming up on today's Rise and Shine Rwanda.
We profile the country's largest producer of clay-based construction products.
A new company set to take over the snacks market in Rwanda.
And sports highlights with Arnold Kwizera. Good morning, it's just after 7 o'clock in the morning and you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Isheja.
And me, Fidelis Karangwa.
And over the next hour, we'll bring you all the latest news, sports, and business headlines from here in Rwanda and around the world. Well, Fidelis, what's happening in the world of the money?
Well, today is clearly going to show where we stand. While you were visiting a clay processing industry,
right.
I was busy dealing with the food. So I went to visit a crisp processing industry in Rwanda. Really good stuff.
Okay.
Quite new also.
All right. Mr. Dapper over here, he's been killing it like every single day.
Changes. Yeah, some changes. Talking about changes, we have changes in the world of sport. The Ministry of Sports and Culture has introduced performance contracts for federations.
You told me about that off camera. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. Taekwondo again continues to be very good. And then the Rugby Championship final. Australia vs New Zealand coming up this weekend.
Oh, we had talked about it when it was in the earlier stages. I cannot wait to talk about that. Well, all that and more still to come. But first, Rise and Shine story of the day. Ever since its creation, Ruriba Clays Limited has made an outstanding impact on the economic development of Rwanda, particularly the construction industry. The number of permanent employees at Ruriba has more than doubled in less than 4 years, increasing from less than 100 in 2009 to 210 last year. It is a force to reckon with. Take a look. The most outstanding change has been the increase to the company's production capacity from about 70 to 75 tons a day to 150 tons. Ruriba supplies all local demand of its products and is currently pursuing regional and international markets as well.
Products to reach what you're about to see probably, or what you've seen at the site, is a long process, and it involves having the clays, which we have got from other places, different clays, which we get and mix, and then from what you saw inside, we blend them to get a homogeneous characteristic, that is in terms of color, in terms of strength. Then after mixing them, we pass through a process called extrusion, and in this process we use pressure and vacuum, and this gives us a brick that has a quality that is very strong.
Ruriba's product portfolio includes clay bricks, clay roofing tiles, clay pavers, ceiling block, and much more.
On average, we produce daily between 100 tons and 150 tons. It matches almost the orders. So per year, we have been growing in terms of production, in terms of sales, everything, at around 25 to 40%.
At the end of the drying process, we assume or we expect the brick to have at most 8%. Now, this is just enough for it to go into the kilns, which some people call furnaces, and we fire them at about 950 to 1000 degrees Celsius. And this gives them the quality that no any other product can have.
We're talking about 27 years of existence. I'm about to go in and find out about how they make Ruriba bricks, what the clay mystery is all about. I'll solve the whole thing for you guys. Follow me. Company's products are selling in Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Uganda at the moment. Ruriba proves that materials needed to construct a house from roof walls and floor are available locally, and all required bulk can be produced in Rwanda.
Some countries, they have their own companies, but sometimes they prefer to buy from us for two reasons. The first one is the quality. we are producing the best quality in the region, in East Africa. So we are exporting our product to Burundi, to Congo, Eastern Congo, to Uganda.
The character that they come out with from the kilns gives them the strength that most other products don't have. Therefore, some of you have seen buildings that have lasted for more than 100 years, and these are made from clay products. Therefore, this is an assurance that actually these products are not only just clay, but they're almost more strong than even stone.
A remarkable feat. Regis Isheja, Rise and Shine Rwanda. And joining us in studio now is Michel Makolo, General Manager at Ruriba Clays Limited. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Regis.
All right, now, when addressing Ruriba, number one, first of all, when it comes to the impact here in the region, we have the Democratic Republic of Congo, we have Uganda, we have Kenya, Tanzania, and so many more. What would you say is our place in the East African region, and can we even go beyond that?
Well, the kind of product we're having, building materials, when we have our clay products, we actually cover the whole of Rwanda. We have many projects we've actually built in Rwanda. We've had in the region, in Burundi, Eastern DRC, Western Uganda, and maybe even other places where actually they've actually taken some of our products, and we're actually growing by the day.
Now, what's the real secret here? Because for as long as I can remember, Ruriba has been the mainstay when it comes to bricks, when it comes to clay, and when it comes to construction. Every time you go somewhere and you go visit someone, first thing that, marks you is seeing Ruriba all over their house. I mean, how did you come, after 27 years, how did you come to still get people interested and want to, buy your material?
I think our products are actually able to sell themselves. I think the first, number one, is the aesthetic value of it. So it's actually beautiful. If you look at Ruriba products, if you either look at our bricks or blocks or roofing tiles or floor tiles, we actually look at them and you see they're actually very beautiful.
Right.
Another element is, which is very important to mention, is actually the quality of our products. On top of them being beautiful, we actually have products that actually, very practical, and then they are actually insulated against the sound, against the heat or any weather situation where we can actually be able to do that. So we have many more reasons why people should buy the Ruriba products, because even the way, as you'll actually show that, you have seen that we should be able to see the process that actually our products go through. It actually guarantees the quality of the product that we actually see.
Now, we're talking only rough numbers here. We're not going to go exactly into the numbers. But how many people are you employing? I saw a lot when I came yesterday at the factory. How many people roughly are you employing? And how much are you selling when it comes to a rough number, or on a yearly basis, on a monthly basis? How much are you selling?
Roughly we employ close up to about 300 people, because we have we have permanent workers. We also have casual workers, and even people who are actually being employed indirectly through some of our subcontractors.
Also heard there's a new office is it Dar es Salaam or Kampala?
Yes, we are in Mbarara.
In Mbarara,
yes.
Right. All right. Now, the clay, the secret to the clay, because when I got there, there's one room you showed me that basically if I had stood there for more than 2 minutes, I would have exploded because of how hot it was. Your employees that work there, tell us about the gear, how protected they are, how safe it is, and also how amazed you are yourself at what you've been able to accomplish with the clientele that keeps coming in and the demand that doesn't slow down.
Yes, I think we follow a lot of rules. We are about to be certified for ISO, with the ISO certification. We've actually fulfilled all the requirements for that. Anytime now we should be able to get the certification. So that is one part that we should be able to do that. We also follow the health and safety requirement that's actually part of the rule. Safety is one of the things that we actually tell our people to be able to follow. Roughly, how much do we sell? in terms of numbers, I don't know. It's a bit difficult to give you a rough number of in terms of monetary value, but we can say we sell a lot of those bricks and those tiles that we actually see all over. We have estates like Gachuriro in Vision 2020 have actually been built with our product. So like if you look at how beautiful they are, and then how actually many people actually are coming up. We have many cases where we've actually supplied a lot of good products, and all our clients are certified, and we get queues and queues of clients who actually wants more of those.
That's a great segue. I wanted to talk about not only the clientele we have in Rwanda. I mean, we know where your place is in the country, but are you worried about competition? One of the gentlemen I spoke to at the factory was telling me that you even have people coming from outside of Rwanda wanting to buy your material. So are you looking to expand in East Africa? And even here, are you afraid? Are you worried about competition?
Well, we are not afraid of competition. I think we have an edge, because one of the edge we have, I would actually boast to say that we have very good employees who are able to produce the best quality products. So that is one of our strengths, I would say. And we have also good practices that we've actually improved over time, and then we've actually known how to do the trade. So competition, I don't think it's a big threat to us.
All right. Yeah. Now, in 2009, there was kind of a transition. You went from being owned by a certain company to another one. Tell us about the transition, how smooth it was, and how, moving forward, it's been positive for the company.
I think there's been, in 2009 indeed, we had, the company was owned by one local company, and then, in 2009 it was acquired by two companies here in Rwanda who have actually, with this transition, if you look at it, the numbers have improved. We've actually improved, the number of employees has actually grown, more than double, as you mentioned it. And our sales have actually gone up. We've also increased the lines, because like what we do, we have kind of production lines, and we've actually added a second production line at the same on the same site where we're actually having now our plant. So already now we have 2 lines running there, and then we're also looking at the possibilities of actually expanding and then going into maybe opening up somewhere.
Right.
Somewhere else within Rwanda.
Right.
Yeah.
Usually when Rwandans are looking for material, construction material, they have a tendency of going elsewhere, Uganda, Kenya, South Africa, abroad, to find material. And we have this tendency of saying, well, our product is not good enough. In this case, this is not the case. Are you proud of proving that you can actually do something from here? I mean, this is a Rwandan product that's sold by a Rwandan company to a Rwandan population. Are you proud of that?
We're very proud of that. I think one of the things, I would say nearly 99.9% of the workers are Rwandan, which is actually very big improvement, because it's a Rwandan company actually being run and the factory is actually being run by Rwandans, which is actually a very big improvement. The people who are actually within Ruriba are very competent. They've actually proven over time. They know their trade. We want to, in terms of products, our products are actually, we've actually gone to an extent of our product being tested in the region, because we're actually selling in the region. So when, let's say, we go to Uganda, we actually get certification from the Ugandan Bureau of Standard or any other Bureau of Standard. Or now that you're saying our processes within the company are actually being according to the ISO certification. So we're actually being ISO certified. So that means internationally, the quality of our product is actually the same as you'd find them anywhere in the world. So like be it in Europe or anywhere in the world.
By you shining, you make the country shine. We appreciate what you do at Ruriba. Michel Makolo, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much, Regis.
All right. Yes. Well, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwandair and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your business news. Fidelis Karangwa has the details.
Business stories making headlines today. Development partners have been urged to ensure close collaboration to enhance efficiency in implementation of development projects. Speaking during a meeting that brought together development partners under the Joint Action Development Forum, the Minister of Local Government, Minister Francis Kaboneka, said development partners should ensure accountability, transparency, and always link policy with practice to help speed up local development. He also advised NGOs to always carry out self-evaluation and to avoid drifting from their original goals. Farmers have been advised to adopt organic farming that does not require use of chemicals and conventional farming that uses chemicals. Officials said organic products are highly needed at the international market and bought at higher prices. The farmers who were exhibiting organic farming products said organic farming products are homegrown solutions for prevention of diseases related to chemicals and are ready to be adopted and maximize profits. Now, the country has been investing a lot of money and efforts in the development of the manufacturing and processing industries over the years, and it has paid off. Today, we learn about one industry that is maximizing on these opportunities presented to it by the government to change the snacks production industry in Rwanda. Take a look.
Having had experience working at a Dutch NGO that trained farmers on productive farming methods, Pascal decided to use his experience to develop his own dream, a dream that most farming cooperatives thought would not be beneficial.
First, we wanted to add value to the potatoes we have. Rwanda is the third largest potato producer in sub-Saharan Africa, but we barely have any kind of value addition. And we also wanted to substitute imports, like we import a lot of potato crisps, a lot of snacks. So we wanted to have something that's made locally also with our own potatoes, and also create some jobs for local communities and young people we work with.
Officially starting to outsource machines and labor to start work in May of last year, they opened their factory in Musanze that has been producing potato chips since then.
Basically, we started early this year, around March. That's when we started setting up the factory, etc. And by May is when we started the actual production. And we had also to get the certificate from RISB, Rwanda Standards Board, so that took us also some extra weeks. So I would say it was by the end of May that we really started the commercial production of these crisps. For now, we are 36 employees, and we also hire some part-time people like the ones you're seeing today at the expo. So, but the 36 are the ones we have on a full-time basis. And also, as we expand, we also plan to hire more people.
Most importantly, he has made this business profitable not only for himself, but for the society as well.
Rwanda, we are a very hilly country. We are also, like the sizes of lands are very small. So it's difficult to produce your own crops for processing. So through the land consolidation policy, the government is encouraging people to grow same crops, like in the same area, like with priority crops. So we chose to work with already those existing policies, those existing structures. So it's much easier than ourselves trying to buy our own land or trying to buy potatoes from Congo, from Uganda. So the cooperatives were the easiest, the most efficient way of outsourcing the potatoes.
Impressive and innovative are just a few of the words that we can use to describe this business that is here to boost the Rwandan economy. Karangwa Fidelis, Rise and Shine Rwanda.
And joining us now in studio is Pascal Murasira, the co-founder of Winners. Welcome, Pascal, to the show.
Thank you.
Now, this thing that you got in, this business you got into is something very different, very new, something that we're not used to. How did you get into it, and how have you found the market since you started production in Rwanda?
Yeah, mostly I would say that I had two objectives. Mm-hmm. First of all was to add value to the potatoes we have here in Rwanda. So in Rwanda, we are lucky to have very fertile soils, like volcanic soils. So we produce a lot of potatoes. So we are actually currently the third largest potato producer in sub-Saharan Africa. So that's something we had, but we cannot add any value. So apart from normal cooking in our kitchens, yes. But there was no really like value addition like commercially. And second reason was that as the country develops, there is always like an increasing need for snacks. So Rwanda was importing a lot of potato crisps. So we said, yeah, why not like link the two, the availability of these potatoes, and also at the same time create a substitute product for what we are importing from abroad when we can do it here locally in our country. So that's basically how we came up with the idea. That's the challenge we wanted to.
Now, the other people already producing potato chips. That's not well packaged like the way you do, or use the kind of, machinery and all that stuff that you use in your company. So, what has the market been like for you since you started? Do you think people are responsive to this as opposed to what they already have on the market?
Actually, we started a few months ago, I think in May, but so far we also, I would say, like we got a bit surprised. Like it's more than we were expecting. Especially in terms of quality. So people out here, they are looking for quality, and we are bringing quality here. Not only the product inside, but also like the look, the packaging, the kind of materials you use. So there is more of an awareness of people, like the consumer out here, trying to look for quality whenever they can. So we are providing that solution as well.
Now, for anyone watching the show and thinking maybe they have an idea that they want to expand on and build on, they would probably like to know about your experience trying to get investors to, because clearly you invested a lot of money in this company to start it off and buy all this machinery. So what's your experience like trying to get investors in Rwanda to try and set up your business?
Yeah, I would say the very basic thing you need is to have an idea, and you need to believe in it. So once that is not there, don't try even to look for money. Even if you have money but you don't believe in the idea, it will not work. So first is the confidence, like to believe that the product is responding to a certain need out here, and also to make sure like you have a well-organized supply chain. So the investors, there are a lot of investors, there's a lot of money out here. So people trying to find opportunities where to invest, but they need also to find a business that will reward back, and they want to have their money back. So that's the basic. We need to do our own research and believe in the product, then the money will come.
Now, what are some of the other challenges that you faced when starting out in this market?
Yeah, of course, like whenever you start a business, there are always challenges. The most important, as I was saying, is to have the right information. So we work in informal market here. So making sure like you have the right data, the right information that you can put in your business plan, and you can also make decisions based on information that is tangible. That's a bit tough. So you need to look all around. So that was a bit of the challenge. The second challenge is, of course, getting the right machinery. And also making sure like you have the right connection to utilities like electricity, like water. You always need these items. The only challenge, like in the business, I would say, although I prefer to use the word that there is room for improvement. So every challenge also is an opportunity. Is that we have to use biodegradable bags. The fact that we use compostable bags itself is not bad. It's actually, we are very supportive of the idea, and we also use it as a marketing tool. But this bag, as you see it needs to be imported from Europe. Yes. Actually, we are importing it currently from Netherlands. And since it is imported outside of Commerce and outside of EAC, there's no one who's doing it locally. It is subject to taxes, to custom duty of 25%. So if you are unlucky, you might also end up paying 18% also VAT on it. Yeah. Not to mention also that itself, it's an expensive packaging. So when you are dealing with competitors from abroad who are importing crisps made from normal plastics, that's it's a little bit not very fair, especially that our market, of course, they're looking for quality, but also this is always an issue of price. So when we go to retailers, to shops, to supermarkets, they always tend to say like, oh, you are a little bit more expensive. Yeah. So we have always to keep informing people like, but we are the quality. So we use biodegradable foils, we use sunflower oil. So it's, I would say it's a bit of a challenge. But,
now, you spoke of
working on
competition.
it.
You spoke of the East African community. Now, the other thing why you're supposed to have a market that's bigger than Rwanda. You're supposed to target the market in Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania, and like you said, you have all these other challenges that you're facing, but you're trying to overcome them. So, how are you going to compete with these other markets? What are you going to do to be able to compete with this other market that's already on the East African community? And can we expect to see maybe more flavors, more maybe low-fat chips? Can we expect to see that in your production process very soon?
Yeah, actually, talking of competition, we are actually not only dealing with other producers of crisps. So there are also other forces that we are competing with. So we are competing with the supply, the power of the suppliers, people who supply us these bags, potatoes. We're also dealing with other alternative, like substitute products, like other snacks. We are also dealing with the prices, like when we're on the market. So there's also the power of the wholesalers, of retailers. So we always try to deal with all these competing forces. But mostly regarding the other producers of crisps, we are focusing on quality. So quality. If someone eats Winners crisps, they know they don't have to. They don't.
Okay.
And also we think it's actually also an opportunity to have actually competitors, because first you cannot take them out, but you can collaborate, because still we also deal with other importers, other products from other parts of the world. We are importing some raw materials, some ingredients, some packaging from abroad. So once we have more manufacturers in the region, we can attract also suppliers of these raw materials, of these inputs cheaply. Yeah, and for the region, we are targeting actually the market in Eastern Congo, Burundi, Uganda, and then midterm also Kenya, Tanzania, and other countries. But for now, we are only selling in Rwanda. We started testing in the regional market for export, but we want to go there when we have also other flavors. So we will not go out of the blue and say like we are going to produce this flavor.
Yes.
But we want to do series of testing to know what the market is appreciating the most. Then we can provide.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So now that we know all this, we know Winners is here, but not many people know where to find it. So where can people find you in case they want to maybe invest in your business, or become maybe wholesalers for you guys, or that kind of stuff? Where to find you, or just buy chips on a regular day?
Okay, it's a good question.
Yeah.
We are based in Musanze. Our factory is based in Musanze district, in Northern Province. But we have appointed a distributor, a local distributor. It's called Bombari. So whoever wants to sell our crisps goes to this distributor. Yeah, we can provide the contacts very easily.
Okay.
But people are welcome, and we are basically in most supermarkets and shops in Kigali, but this coming month we want to be countrywide. Okay. So it's starting slow but growing steadily.
Now, clearly you're not very good for my diet. You're going to completely ruin it with this product of yours, but it's an amazing one, and we really thank you and wish you all the best in all that you do.
Thank you.
Perfect. Well, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Sports is coming up next in just a minute with Anu Kwizera.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Rwanda. Time now for your sports news. I'm Arnold Kwizera. Starting with Taekwondo, debutants Rwanda won 8 medals to emerge as the best African team at the just concluded Hamadang International Taekwondo Festival in South Korea. The multi-category World Taekwondo Hamadang is aimed at showcasing the essentials of martial arts such as breaking, self-defense and pumse, and is a contest held every year. The medal winners came from Boniface Boningaba, who won 1 gold medal, Zura Mushomba Kazi, who won 2 gold medals, and 16-year-old Benon Kaitare, scooping 2 bronze medals. Others came from team captain Regis Iyumva. Moving on to the Ministry of Sports and Culture has signed performance contracts with local sports federations. The function was held behind closed doors at the ministry headquarters at Amahoro Stadium. According to the minister, only federations with legal status were eligible to sign those contracts, while those that have not yet signed have until August the 15th to have completed the process. Among the key issues in the contracts included holding executive meetings every month and reviewing what has been done and presenting to the ministry what has to be done by the respective federations in order to develop sports in the country. Moving on to rugby, Australian flanker Michael Hooper was free to face New Zealand in the Rugby Championship decider this weekend after an appeal against the leniency of his 1-week ban for striking an opponent was dismissed. SANZA, the governing body of the Southern Hemisphere Rugby, launched an appeal on Friday against Hooper's punishment for striking Argentina's Nicolas Sanchez in last week's test in Mendoza. The Australian Rugby Union responded by launching a counter-appeal against the original ban, but both were unanimously dismissed by a 3-man committee. Australia hosts New Zealand in the decider this Saturday, while South Africa play Argentina later on in the day. And finally, the 10th Mountain Gorilla Rally lived up to its hype over the weekend as over 20 riders from all over Africa pitted up against each other in the quest for continental supremacy, but at the end of the day, there was only one winner. Take a look. Despite a few setbacks towards the end of last year's calendar, the motorsport fraternity looks to have grown in leaps as this year's Mountain Gorilla Rally not only surpassed expectations in number of participating drivers, but also saw an increase in the number of fans from all over the continent.
For the first time Mount Gorilla has been organized, we had no rains, and the turn-up from both the local fans and international fans had increased by a margin of 15-20%, which means the stringent atmosphere from the organizers had improved a bit. And that's what we have always agitated for as fans from Uganda.
But there was frustration for local favorite and former champion Giancarlo Davite as he crashed out after hitting a cow in one of the cross sections on the final day.
I prefer not comment because what happened, I think it's part of organization. We passed the day to avoid bikes, people. Unfortunately, we couldn't avoid the last cow we met, and we hit it. And we had an accident.
Not the best of news for local favorite Giancarlo Davite as he failed to get to the final stages of this year's Mount Gorilla Rally, the Kenyans and Zambians setting the pace. Kenyan driver Jasprit Chate increased his overall lead in the competition as he leapfrogged overnight leader Valeri Bukera from Burundi for a 23 seconds victory over Zambian Jasi Singh.
Yeah, this is my first time in Rwanda doing the Mountain Gorilla. Yeah, I felt quite a lot of pressure yesterday, this morning, especially from Jasi, as we are competing in the ARC Championship. But yeah, Davite, I knew Davite. We've been rallying with him in Kenya as well on the ARC back last 2 years. He's also a very quick driver, and yeah, I expected some good competition throughout the day.
Yeah, of course they're getting slimmer, but we can't blame that on the organizers of the event. We can't blame it on my team. I can't blame it on my navigator. That's how rally goes, and let's see how it goes in Uganda.
Uganda's Pearl of Africa Rally is next on the circuit for the Africa Rally Championship contenders, with the Rally of Madagascar set to be the season's defining moment. Rwandan drivers will now turn their attention to next month's Huye Rally with the hope of the sport growing in bounds. Arnold Kwizera, Rise and Shine, Rwanda.
Just now remix. Two.
All right, Arnold, the scuffle in Mendoza, what do you think the governing body is going to come up with, and will that be satisfying with neither side?
I think Australia has played the smart game. They need Michael Hooper, who's their vice captain. They need him in this crucial tie, because this is a decider. Now, Australia, over the past 3 years, have never had a better chance of winning the Bledisloe Cup or the Rugby Championship than this year. Now, when you look at the Australian squad that's going into this game, the return of Will Guinea, Quade Cooper is in great form at 5'8". It's going to give the coach a headache, you know, and that's an option that you would love to have. Now, when you have Michael Hooper, who's his vice captain, and who you would call right now one of the best features in rugby, him at number 7, and Sean Paul and the returning Richard Pollock at number 6, gives Australia enough people at the ruck contest, which is going to be crucial against a New Zealand side that has their captain Richie Macau at 7 and the World Player of the Year Brodie Retallick at 6. So I think with the form Michael Hooper has had for his championship side, which is the Waratahs in Super Rugby, coming into this fixture, it will give Australia an edge. Don't forget, they're playing at home. Absolutely. Now, these are crucial moments for Coach Michael Cheika. It's his first year as the Australian coach, and with the Rugby World Cup around the corner, he has to gauge his best players against the world's #1 team. So you will feel Australia is in a good position going into this tie. They have moved up in the rankings. They have moved from number 5 to number 4 in the world rankings, just behind England and New Zealand and South Africa. And you feel Australia playing at home, you know, they will still be underdogs against, you know, the Haka-men, New Zealanders.
But having the crowd behind them.
But having the Suncorp crowd behind them, you know, at the Suncorp Stadium, 68,000 people all singing that Australian anthem. Right. I think it gives them
a morale boost.
A morale boost. And, you know, the form of Quade Cooper, again, he is the X factor to watch. Now, will he start? Will Bernard Foley start? Those are questions that are out to coach Michael Cheika. And it was, again, a smart move from the Australian rugby body to go and appeal that decision against Michael Hooper.
Absolutely. Now let's move on. Let's come back here home and look at some of the decisions that Minister Julienne Ouattara have been able to implement. Number one, when she first got the nomination, a lot of debates surrounded her becoming the new Minister of Culture and Sports. Every cafe, every barbershop, you heard the discussions.
Yes.
So do you think this is her type of imihigo, basically? Do you think this was needed, especially when you know the weaknesses of the federation? You've talked about it extensively, very well documented by you. Do you think this is going to change anything in sports in this country?
I think it's going to change. I think she's making the right steps. For a minute, you felt the sports federation is being run in a kind of a mafia style, if I would use that word.
Right.
Yeah, but her introducing these performance contracts. Now, when you look at the number of federations that are legal and liable to these performance contracts, there are only 15 federations. Now, only 10 federations have signed for this. Now, the crucial federations like the FERAFA, which is in charge of football, hasn't yet signed these performance contracts. Now, what is the punishment? Because they have not yet given us these predicaments of what happens to a federation that doesn't sign these performance contracts. And you would look at a football federation that has been the lion of Rwandan sports. They're skeptical about this, and I think having these executive meetings is going to help and become accountable, because you have a situation of the recent Peace Cup whereby a team like Rayon Sports came out and complained about the figures that they were given, because for a stadium that was filled to capacity, Rayon Sports got 3.5 million francs from the federation, because they had a sharing agreement of 80-20-20 of 80 for the clubs and 20 for the Ministry of Sports.
Right.
Yeah, and Rayon Sport felt outdone. Now, the Minister Julienne Ouattara doesn't have a sports background with her. Now, that's
which is what brought all the confusion when she got nominated.
When she got nominated. But she's an enforcer. You know, she has a law background and she gets things done. Because when you look at the time period she's been the Minister of Sports, which is about 8 months, she has done more work, I would say so, than her predecessor. And you feel these are some of the changes that are needed in the Ministry of Sports and Culture to move, especially with Chan around the corner. We had the Olympic qualifiers, the Rugby Olympic qualifiers over the weekend that were a disarray. You know, we had the Mountain Gorilla Rally that's bringing a lot of tourism for the country. And we have more events coming up. The Taekwondo Federation continues to shine and blossom.
Well, that's a great segue for me, because yesterday morning when I woke up and I was watching the news, all I could see, whether in the news or on social media, because of time difference, obviously, you're the late sleeper, I saw that Rwanda had won 8 medals. I'm very happy about that. I'm pretty sure everybody is. What do you attribute that success to? Why is Taekwondo working in this country?
The sport of Taekwondo is one of the most underrated in the country. But again, it's up there with the Cricket Federation in success. Now, the Cricket Federation hasn't won as many trophies on the international scene as Taekwondo, because on average, the Taekwondo Federation wins 2.1, if that matters, trophies per month. Yeah, these guys are always out. Now, they have a very good program under their tutor and mentor, Alan Kunz, who was the former Olympic Committee chairperson. And he's always taking these young men. When you look at their coach, right, Alan, he goes out for tournaments. They've been exposed very well, and they continue to compete in global events. Now they are ranked #1 in Africa, and those are the federations you feel deserve, support from the Ministry of Sports and Culture.
They won't be having any problem with Imihigo as it is.
No,
right?
they won't, and they should get a big share of that 30% of the budget. Right. Come this new fiscal year.
Okay, well, Arnold, always endless, limitless knowledge. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, you're watching Rise and Shine Rwanda. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break.
Let's take a look now at news making headlines here in Rwanda and around the world.
Religious leaders and academics have backed a popular proposal to scrap presidential term limits. They presented their arguments during a consultative meeting with a team of senators at the University of Rwanda's College of Education. The exercise was part of ongoing parliament-led consultations to collect people's views on amending Article 101 of the Constitution, which currently restricts a head of state's tenure to two seven-year terms. During the consultations, most speakers lauded His Excellency President Paul Kagame's leadership and argued that term limits should be scrapped to enable him to realize his dream of turning Rwanda into a middle-income country by the year 2020.
The newly elected Mining Committee for the Southern Province has been tasked to adopt environmentally friendly mining practices and fight illegal operations. This was during the election of the new committee by members of Rwanda Mining Association. They will serve for 3 years. RMA Chairman Jean-Malik Kalima said the new committee should work with determination and diligence to ensure that it addresses challenges facing the mining sector. The new committee consists of the chairman, 2 vice presidents, the secretary, the treasurer, 2 advisors, auditors, and 3 advisors. The Ministry of Natural Resources has previously said that about 70% of fatal mining accidents were due to illicit mining practices fueled by corruption.
In regional news, a prominent Burundian human rights activist has been shot and seriously wounded by gunmen on motorbikes. Pierre Claver Monima was a stern critic of President Pierre Nkurunziza's controversial bid for a 3rd term in office. He was attacked in the capital, Bujumbura. On Sunday, Presidential Aide General Adolphe Nshimirimana was killed in an attack on his car in Bujumbura as well. He was in charge of the president's personal security. Burundi has suffered serious unrest since President Nkurunziza's decision in April to seek a 3rd term in office. Opponents argued these contravened the constitution and there was a failed coup attempt in May.
And pro-government forces in Yemen have retaken the country's largest air base in a battle with Houthi rebels. Fighters loyal to the Yemen's exiled president Abd Rabbu Mansur Hadi, bolstered by Gulf Arab support, seized the country's largest military base from Houthi forces on Monday after heavy combat in which dozens were killed and captured. Heavy casualties have been reported at Al-Nab Air Base north of Aden. After intense fighting there in recent days, it comes after pro-government forces backed by airstrikes from the Saudi-led coalition retook Aden in July. The Saudis are leading a campaign to push the rebels back and restore the government, which is sheltering. Okay, don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Here is to traveling and saving. Starting 1st of April to the 1st of June, travel with Rwanda and take advantage of our reduced fares and enjoy our world-class services in great comfort and safety.
Fly our dream to the heart of Africa.
we'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, and feedback on what we're talking about here on Rise and Shine Rwanda. Tweet us at RiseandShineRW. Like us on Facebook and send us your ideas for programs. Check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda YouTube page where you can catch all the shows and the reports we do on a daily basis. Find us on Instagram, Rise and Shine RW. We'd love to see your pictures. Or check out our Rise and Shine Rwanda website. Well, that's all the time we have for today, but like I just said, we'd love to hear from you on social media. You've been watching Rise and Shine Rwanda with me, Regis Isheja.
And me, Fidelis Karen. We'll be back here same time, same place tomorrow, so do join us then. But for now, from me, Regis, and Arnold here, looking fabulous.
Dapper man.
See you tomorrow.
All right, bye-bye.